Welcome back to the Professor's Lab. I'm Professor V, and this is Game 2 of this matchup of some post-rotation Temporal Forces Standard training that happened on March 9th, 2024. If you didn't know, Die Hard League happens every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central, featuring casual and tournament play of whatever format anyone wants, really. More info in the description. Temporal Forces Prerelease Saturday, March 16th at 1 p.m. and League Challenge Thursday, March 21st at 6 p.m. All Central Time, all at Die Hard Games, and check out Pokemon's event locator for premier events at the shop, such as League Challenges, League Cups, and pre-releases. Please hit that like button right quick, subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications, say what you need to say in the comments, and all that other good free stuff. But anyways, let's research this game. On the left, of course, is the Ancient Allies up against Lugia V-Star. We've got a pretty nice board here with an Artisan coming down as well. And then Artisan lets either player on their turn search their deck for a non-rule box basic Pokemon to add to the bench. So that Koraidon is found. Let me give you a quick breakdown of what we got going on the board here. So in the active spot is that Fluttermane. Fluttermane has the Fluttering of the Night ability. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent's active Pokemon has no abilities except for Fluttering of the Night. So that could shut off Lugia V-Star's V-Star power ability if it's in the active spot. But yeah, it says the active Pokemon has no abilities. So not too much harm done to Lugia V-Star by this Fluttermane here. We also have the Roaring Moon on the bench. Roaring Moon has the Vengeful Strike attack for 2 dark, does 70 plus, 10 more damage for each ancient card in your discard pile. There's also the Koraidon on the field here with the Origin Roar attack for a fighting and a colorless energy, 30 times the amount of ancient Pokemon you have in play, dealing that much damage to the opposing Pokemon. So there's the quick breakdown of what's going on there, maybe give you a hint at the strategies. We'll talk more about it as we go. As an Earthen Vessel is played here, discarding a card in order to search the deck for 2 basic energy. Darkness and Fighting found here, because we've got those kinds of Pokemon going on our field currently. I imagine next is going to be a Radiant Greninja ability. Interesting. So Koraidon seems to be topping out at 120 damage with the Radiant Greninja in play, with its Origin Roar attack at least. So fighting energy attached to that Koraidon, and then Radiant Greninja discarded a card to draw 2 cards with its Concealed Cards ability. And very nice, Nest Ball is found here. Very good turn 1. That allows the player to search the deck for a basic Pokemon to put onto the bench. Another Koraidon is found. It joins the party here. Yeah, that's a really cool looking art on that Koraidon as well. Only thing better would be another ancient Pokemon to hit the field. Cannot play a supporter as it's their first turn going first. Doesn't really look like there's too much else to do. Yep, things are passed over to our Lugia player here. Snorlax is in the active spot like we learned from the last game. It may be better to lead Snorlax if you have the choice between that and the Lugia, as it kind of protects your Lugia for 1, and then for 2, Snorlax can attack for 2 attachments without having to have any Arceus in play. Ultra Ball right now is discarding an Archeops actually. A couple of those can get cheated into play by Lugia V-Star's Summoning Star V-Star power ability. So Ultra Ball discards a Jet Energy and an Archeops to find another Archeops. Oh, and there's another Ultra Ball in hand, so I think we're going to see the double Archeops hit the discard pile this time. Um, it looks like initially the Jet Energy was the target for the Ultra Ball to discard with the Ultra Ball. But again, we're playing for fun here. We're playing for training. Both players are talking things over, talking about different strategies, and then they also, you might see them change up plays that were made as well, so that way the optimum play is made. Um, so we could really see what these decks can do in our training sessions. And with consent from both players, of course. We're all good. We're all chilling here. So enough about that. We're going to see this second Archeops hit the discard pile. Ultra Ball discarding that, and a Lugia V-Star. So since the Lugia V-Star is discarded, I imagine the second Ultra Ball is going to find a Lugia V-Star just to have in hand. We don't really need anything else. No other Pokemon out this turn. But kind of stinks that the a Lugia V-Star would have to be discarded in the process. Right now we're actually going to resolve Artisan first before that second Ultra Ball. The choice is between a Snorlax and a Mincino or Chinchino, whichever one's the first of the basic. Let me know in the comments if I'm getting that right or wrong. Alright, so our players laying out a couple cards here, just kind of mapping things out, how exactly we want everything to happen. Oh, right now it looks like they're working out if Lugia V-Star has to be too afraid of Flutter Mane. As long as it's on the bench, Lugia V-Star can use its V-Star power ability, so just making sure we're aware of all of everything that's going on. So okay, we saw a Artisan finally get resolved there. Next is Ultra Ball. What to discard? It looks like Jet Energy, Archeops, and Lugia V-Star are the potential targets. I think you discard the Lugia V-Star as well as the Archeops, of course, because you could just grab another Lugia V-Star here and you really only need one through the course of the game, and probably with this matchup as well. You know that there's a Lugia V-Star in deck because you did Artisan, so that's the proper sequencing there. Artisan, then Ultra Ball. Then now the Jet Energy's in hand, so that could be attached to the active Snorlax or even the bench one. Wow, we're actually just going to hold the Jet Energy. Okay. I guess we feel comfortable to hold the Jet Energy since there's two Archeops in the discard pile as well as a Lugia V-Star in hand. So we're pretty much guaranteed to be able to get all that into play and accelerate energy next turn. So don't have to aggressively attach the energy, but maybe I would have liked to have seen the attachment to one of the Snorlaxes of the Jet Energy. Either way, our Ancient Allies player is going to start their turn. It looks like it was an Earthen Vessel being played. Discard a card, search the deck for 2 basic energy. Excuse me, of course the cards have to be revealed here so we know that the player is grabbing the basic energy, which I imagine we will see shortly. Alright, so we grabbed a couple of basic energy there. Didn't see which ones, but that's okay. I'm sure they were basic energy. Next is Artisan. Gets resolved. That finds another Koraidon. And the setup is looking very good for our ancient player here. Let's see, that can, I don't think the KO can happen on the Snorlax. Oh, it can. It can. Okay, I misspoke. Probably in the other video. Koraidon goes for about, on average, 150, not 120. Yeah, I don't know what I was talking about earlier. I was tripping. Sorry. So yeah, the Koraidon's currently swinging for 150, enough to KO the Snorlax here. And then what was just played? Gotta resolve the Artisan. Oh, that Koraidon is found. Next is Radiant Greninja. Okay, discarding and energy drawing 2 cards with its Concealed Cards ability. And next is the Explorer's Guidance being played. Look at the top 6 cards of the deck. Keep 2 of them and discard the others. Looking for a way to attack and an energy for the turn. A way to move into the active spot to attack. And there's the energy attached to the bench Koraidon. I'm actually going to spread the energy. Maybe there is no attack this turn. Just no way to get into the active spot. Okay, so the attack is missed there by the ancient player, and then just spreading out the energy, spreading their resources on the bench, and just passes things back over to the Lugia player. Lugia V-Star evolved on the bench, of course. Then Summoning Star brings 2 Archeops from the discard pile onto the bench. Minccino is put onto the bench as well. I think Lugia is fully set up now. Now we start accelerating special energy from the deck. It looks like Minccino is not actually going to be put down there. An Artisan will be used instead to find another Minccino, I'm sure. And then the one from the deck gets put into play just to thin it out of the deck. Just trying to make the top decks that much sweeter by thinning the deck, leaving only the good stuff in there. Alright, and we are doing Primal Turbo now. Archeops has the Primal Turbo ability. You can search your deck for up to 2 special energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon, to one of your Pokemon. So the first Primal Turbo is going to find that, what's that energy called again? Mist Energy. Actually, the Gift Energy. I like this better. Gift Energy gets attached to the active Snorlax as well as Double Turbo Energy. It's ready to attack. Now we're resolving the second Primal Turbo. A Gift Energy goes on to the bench Snorlax, as well as a DTE, Double Turbo Energy. Okay, so just prioritizing, establishing the attackers for the next few turns. We're maybe expecting, we're expecting the active Snorlax to get KO'd. That's why we got the Gift Energy on it instead of the Therapeutic Energy, so that way it stays awake. Its attack puts itself to sleep, or potentially puts itself to sleep. It's most likely going to stay asleep. But the Gift Energy is put on instead, expecting that KO, and then Gift Energy says when your opponent knocks out this Pokemon, before you promote your next active Pokemon, you draw until you have 7 cards in hand. So Koraidon's in the active spot now with an energy, fighting energy attached to it. Artisan is being played now to search the deck for a basic non-rule box Pokemon to add to the bench. And we see the second Roaring Moon come down. Still very early in this game. 6 prize cards to 5 prize cards. Lugia ahead in the prize race. Now all we need to have this turn is a basic energy. Future Booster Energy Capsule coming onto that Koraidon, giving it plus 60 HP. And Professor Sada's Vitality is a supporter per turn. You can accelerate a basic energy onto 2 of your ancient Pokemon in play, and then draw 3 cards. So the attack is lined up. Another ancient Booster Energy Capsule gets attached to the bench Koraidon. Board is looking very nice for the ancient side of things. And we see the attack. The Origin Roar, 30 times the 30 damage for each of your ancient Pokemon in play. There are 5 ancient Pokemon in play, so 150 damage. Clean knockout on the opposing Snorlax. Gift energy is resolved from that Snorlax, of course. Lugia player gets up to 7 cards before they choose their next active Pokemon. Koraidon currently has 200 HP, so we have to attack with the Lugia V-Star. With a double turbo energy and 2 more special energy, the Lugia can do 200 damage exactly. The gift energy was not resolved, excuse me, so just making sure we resolve that now. I don't think that changes who you promote into the active spot. Maybe you could attack with a Cincino and not put a 2-prizer in the active, but Lugia has a lot of HP. We're not really scared of it getting knocked out next turn yet. So maybe it can tank a hit. Taking a knockout, we're assuming it's going to knock out this turn, of course. It needs a double turbo energy and a 2 more energy as well. And that's on board because there's 2 Archeops in play, assuming all the energy is in deck. Next is Serena. That supporter has 2 effects. But before the Serena, Artisan is going to get resolved. Thank you guys again for your patience through these training sessions. We're here to learn, show what these decks can do. Mincino is found off of that Artisan and hits the bench, thinning that deck out of 1 more card, because now I think we're going to draw cards with Serena. It has 2 effects. It can either gust a Pokemon V, or you can discard, I think, up to 3 cards and then draw until you have 5 in hand. But our Lugia player finally decides to use Primal Turbo first before drawing cards. This makes sense. Get those energy out because you know we need them. We're going to attack with Lugia. We need energy to attack. So the 2 Archeops are going to accelerate double turbo energy and gift energy, as well as a mist energy onto that Lugia. The Mist Energy is relevant here, so we'll talk about what that one does. Mist Energy says, I think, prevent all effects of attacks done to the Pokemon this card is attached to. Something along those lines. Prevent all effects of attacks, of your opponent's attacks done to the Pokemon this card's attached to. So yeah, so that's relevant because I saw that this Ancient Allies deck plays the Roaring Moon EX, and Roaring Moon EX's Frenzied Gouging attack says it doesn't do any damage, it's just the effect of the attack is knock out the opponent's active Pokemon. So the Mist Energy basically protects Lugia from Frenzied Gouging. That's why that one was prioritized, as well as the Gift Energy and Double Turbo. Thanks, double Archeops. And then the supporter per turn is actually an Iono. Both players shuffle their hand, put it at the bottom of the deck, and then draw cards equal to their remaining prize cards. So both players get 5 here, I believe. Next is Ultra Ball, discarding the useless Lugia V at this point to find that Cinccino. Let's talk about that Cinccino right quick. Alright, the Chinchino. It evolves from Mincino, of course, stage 1 Pokemon, and the attack we really care about is Special Round. For 2 colorless energy, it does 70 damage for each special energy card attached to this Pokemon. So that can knock out just about anything that Cincino can. So just establishing that onto the board, thinning the 2 Lugia V out of the deck, and then take the KO on the opposing Koraidon. 200 HP, exact KO. Replacement Koraidon comes into the active spot, and play resumes over on its side. First is Earthen Vessel, discarding that Nest Ball to search the deck for 2 basic energy, and a Darkness energy is found. Next is Artisan. That stadium has stuck, and finds the 3rd Roaring Moon. So we have the 5 ancient Pokemon in play. So with the full board of ancient Pokemon, Koraidon can do 180. And it has 200 HP. That's crazy for a 1-prizer. Darkness energy attached to that active Koraidon. It can attack, doing 150 damage onto the opposing Lugia V-Star, threatening a 2-shot. It looks like that's what we have for turn. Nothing else really needed. Pokemon Catcher. That actually is a the Pokemon Catcher stands for Counter Catcher. Counter Catcher is live once you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent, and then it acts like a boss's orders on an item card, bringing up one of the Archeops on the bench. And 150 damage does take a clean KO on 150 HP Archeops. Uh-oh. So they are taking the strategy of targeting the Lugia V-Star's engine, the double Archeops, that accelerates the energy onto all the attackers. But I think the Lugia player feels okay in this spot because there's 2 attackers on board already. You can power up another one right now with the Archeops if you really wanted to. So there might be enough attackers on board to take the remaining 4 prize cards after this turn. So think you're feeling okay if you're Lugia right now. As an Archeops, Primal Turbo was debating on being activated, but actually going to resolve the Artisan first. That's better sequencing because you can look into the deck before doing the Primal Turbo. That educates your Primal Turbo on if you want to use it, when you want to use it, and what you want to use it for exactly. All these things in these training sessions in the hyperbolic time chamber. Unlimited time. Thanks to our players being okay with that. As this Primal Turbo is being resolved to accelerate 2 special energy cards from the deck onto one of your Pokemon. The V-Guard energy and the Mist energy being eyed up. And they both get attached to the bench Mincino. Capturing Aroma is played here. I kind of want to pause and talk about the attachments to the Mincino. So I'm not sure if that one can evolve this turn. Let's see that first. Alright, so here we are seeing the KO. Yeah, there's a Mincino out at the start of the turn. Okay, Lugia comes up. Okay, yeah, so this Mincino can evolve this turn. So maybe no punishment for attaching those 2 energy to it, but I don't know, right? Now that I'm watching it, I kind of think they should have just been attached to the Mincino over there. Like, why not do that? We can find another Cinchino here. Or Mincino. Yeah, excuse me, Cinchino. I'm never going to get those right. As Capturing Aroma is played, heads is flipped on it, so that means an evolution Pokemon can be found here. There could be... Yeah, so we're just going to go for the Cinchino off of that Capturing Aroma. The Mincino with energy can evolve here, but interesting. Not going to play it yet. Okay, so just Lugia takes the KO on the opposing Koraidon. Another Koraidon is put into the active spot. And play resumes over on its side. So yeah, we'll just do our best to keep up with this action here. There we go. Cincino evolves, has the energy attack. So we got 3 attackers ready to go. Lugia, I don't know if we're scared of it getting knocked out at this point. Here, let's think about this here. But we could see 3, 4, 5, 6 ancient cards in the discard pile. And remember that Roaring Moon does 70 base plus 10 more for each ancient card in the discard pile. So I don't think we're scared of that knocking out the Lugia. We're not scared of the Roaring Moon EX knocking it out because of the mist energy. The Koraidon can't, so the Lugia should tank as well next turn, or during the opponent's turn. Alright, Professor Sada's Vitality is played here over on the ancient side. That lets, remember, you accelerate from your discard pile a basic energy to 2 of your ancient Pokemon in play, then draw 3 cards. Our Lugia player has to leave right now, but action will continue over on the ancient side. Eyeballing how much energy is in the discard pile. So a potential Super Rod happening here, or just getting a count of everything that's going on. Superior Energy Retrieval being played, actually. That card has you discard 2 cards, and then you could put up to 4 basic energy from your discard pile into your hand. So lots of energy in hand now to fuel that. Radiant Greninja's concealed cards, discarding 1, drawing 2. Now we need to find more ancient Pokemon to put into play to be able to deal as much damage as we can with the Koraidon, as well as establishing the board. Ancient Booster Energy Capsule going on to that Roaring Moon on the bench, bringing it up to 200 HP. Artisan is found, or is used, to find another Roaring Moon. That gets put onto the bench. And I wonder what the actual count of ancient cards in the discard pile is now. From what we can see, it looks like 7. Okay, I don't think there's anything else to play. Attack for 150 damage with Koraidon's Origin Roar attack. And now we will skip ahead for when the Lugia player comes back. There we go. Play is passed back over to Lugia's side. They're taking a look at the discard pile, seeing what resources have been used. And yeah, what else to do this turn? Just power up the other Mincino. Jacques will be played as a supporter per turn. Search the deck for 2 evolution Pokemon. So a Cincino could be found. I can't remember if there's one prized or one in the discard pile already. There might be one in the discard pile. So this Jacques is just to thin these 2 Archeops out of the deck. Ultra Ball discards them immediately. To thin out of the deck a Lugia V-Star. Don't really need that, just pulling it out of the deck. Leaving only the good stuff in that deck. There is a Primal Turbo to resolve now. Searching the deck for 2 special energy cards to put into play. Therapeutic Energy goes on the bench Snorlax. Gift Energy gets attached from hand to that Cincino. Lugia retreats for a double turbo energy into the Snorlax with Therapeutic Energy. It attacks with Thumping Snore for 150 damage, taking the KO on the opposing Pokemon. So maybe that Ancient Booster Energy Capsule should have got attached to the active to force the Lugia to attack. But Snorlax takes the KO. It stays awake thanks to the Therapeutic Energy. And play resumes over on Roaring Moon's side. 4 Roaring Moon in play right now. I'm sure there's enough ancient cards in the discard pile to take the KO. Artisan is resolved, bringing a Koraidon into play. Roaring Moon's Vengeful Strike incoming as Professor Sada's Vitality accelerates some energy onto the board and draws 3 cards. That Roaring Moon is fully powered up and can attack with the Vengeful Strike. I'm sure it's doing more than 150. That's the Snorlax HP. Darkness Energy attached to the bench Roaring Moon. So the attackers are streaming now. On the Ancient side, calculating how much damage Vengeful Strike is doing now. More than enough to take the KO. Gift Energy. Was there a Gift Energy on that Snorlax? Let's definitely have to resolve that if there's fewer than 7 cards in hand. Let's see if our players figure it out. Guess I could check. Yeah, there is a Gift Energy on that Snorlax. Or there was. So the Lugia player should have drawn 7 cards. I don't think they did. Or drawn up to 7 cards. It looks like there's fewer than 7 in hand. We'll just let it roll and double check here. I think our players are figuring how much damage exactly Roaring Moon is doing. Card was drawn there. Looks like there's less than 7. Now I think we're doing Artisan. So yeah, 7 cards should have been drawn off the gift. Up to 7 cards should have been drawn off to the gift energy, but oh well. We'll just keep rolling with things. There could have even been 7 or more cards in hand. But now it looks like we're resolving Primal Turbo to accelerate a Jet Energy onto that Mincino. It's now doing 210 damage. Enough to KO the opposing 200 HP. Roaring Moon. 2 more energy accelerated, so maybe the Jet Energy was attached from hand. Let's go back and check. Yeah, I think I see a jet energy in hand. Okay, yeah, that was attached from hand, the jet energy onto the active. So now Mencino's second attack that does 70 times the amount of special energy cards attached to it can do 210 to KO the 200 HP Roaring Moon, and a couple more special energy accelerated onto the bench. Cincino. Yeah, I don't think the mist energy or the jet energy are, of course the jet energy is not relevant, but neither of them relevant here. Next is Great Ball. Look at the top 7. Take a Pokemon card you find there, add it to the hand. Mincino, or Cincino attacks special round, 210 damage. Koraidon moves into the active spot. Play resumes over on its side. 3 prize cards to 1 now, so the prize trade not looking in Ancient Allies' favor currently. Lugia V-Star has their board pretty set up as well for the next turn to take the next prize. So going to put that Roaring Moon EX into play. Double Dark Patch, nice, being played next. Dark Patch accelerates darkness energy from the discard pile to one of your darkness bench Pokemon. Then jet energy attached to the Roaring Moon to bring it into the active spot. Pokegear 3.0 being played to search the top 7 cards of the deck for a supporter card to add to the hand. Definitely have to reveal the supporter card. That's okay. Roaring Moon now uses Calamity Storm to take the KO on the opposing Cinchino. Calamity Storm, if you discard a stadium that's in play, it does 220 total. So now let's see if the Cinchino can take the KO on the opposing Roaring Moon. There's a double turbo energy in hand that gets attached. Cincino takes the KO on the opposing Roaring Moon EX and the game. What are you guys thinking of these videos and the commentary and the new format so far? Please let me know in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time in the Professor's Lab.